Congressman Will Forster.
Thank you, Dr Merson. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship, and I do want to thank the honourable member for Harborough, Oakby and Wigston for securing this important debate. It's obvious that local government organisation, or LGR, is the government running before it can walk. On so many issues, we Liberal Democrats are usually pushing the government to go further and faster, but not on this. McLaren is from my constituency of Woking. Even they would think the government is going too fast and too furious. Local government reorganisation has charged ahead without listening to councils and whilst ignoring residents. A layer of our local democracy is being removed. It's being silenced. It very much feels like Labour is reorganising local government for the sake of it, without rhyme nor reason. Severe funding pressures are pushing local services to the brink. Vulnerable children, the elderly, and the safety of our roads are suffering because of years of Conservative mismanagement and neglect. Rebranding and changing the face of the problem doesn't affect the way something works, or more importantly, the way it doesn't work. The Liberal Democrats believe we need to fix our public services first and involve local people before we even think about redrawing lines on the map. Of course, we still don't actually know why the government has chosen to push ahead with LGR. Any organisation always has a fully costed business case, whether that be a charity or a business. They don't change the way that they do things without one. I sit on the Housing, Communities and Local Government Select Committee. It was clear from yesterday's meeting that the Labour government simply hasn't outlined its business case. What we have here is an overly ambitious plan to reform all of local government by 2028. There seems to be no reason other than creating, I quote, efficiencies. So in that meeting yesterday, when I asked the Minister how much money reorganisation would save, the Honourable Member for Birkenhead said, I quote, "It is challenging to answer that question, and that unitary councils tend to be more effective. I can't give a direct answer," which I was surprised to hear. That was the answer for a flagship Labour policy that would involve the largest change in local government for over half a century. I will give way.
The Honourable Member for giving way, and I too serve on that Housing, Communities and Local Government Select Committee. Does he agree with me? The reason why they're struggling to answer this question because local government reorganisation won't save a single penny.
Well, we missed the Honourable Member yesterday at the meeting, but I do agree with him. I fear that it won't save any money. The lack of evidence, the lack of a business case is a concern for me and the Liberal Democrats that we expressed at the committee yesterday. I'm sure he will be able to do the same next week when he joins us. I better continue if that's. I better continue if that's okay. There are many layers for our democracy. I will give way. Okay.
Would you like to continue with the rest of what I said?
I can do, but obviously I'm going to pass over to the Minister in a bit, Mr Merson, if that's okay. I think if there are such monumental changes to the way we operate and run our society, we need to consult local people. Repeatedly through this entire process, local views have been disregarded. Back in April, hundreds of people staged a protest against plans that would split the New Forest area into two mega councils. It's already been referred to this morning. More than 13,000 unhappy residents who signed a petition called for New Forest District Council to take legal advice and pursue a judicial review. Local government reorganisation should be driven by councils and local areas, not dictated to by London. We are told that LGR is about efficiency and a fresh start, but the reality on the ground looks absolute chaos. And if anything, it's a setback. And look no further than Woking. Surrey County Council was planning to make Arnold and Eve Road in Maybury safer and nicer, but the scheme has been kicked into the long grass and the council won't engage with me or the local residents that they consulted about the plans with. It's been palmed off on West Surrey Council that is being created next year. That is shocking. The situation is a prime example of how local government plans are grinding to a halt. Essential infrastructure is on pause while ministers and civil servants reshuffle the system. LGR is causing delays, and it's frustrating the lives of local people who shouldn't have to watch their community services decline while councils try to guess the future. And all of this with no leadership or direction from the Ministry of Housing, Communities or local government. The issues are rife elsewhere too. In Shropshire, they spend 80% of their council budget on social care. Shropshire Council is another example, another prime example of the financial pressure facing local services. Alongside underfunding, they have also had their funding cut. Care for the elderly is such a huge burden because 25% of their population is over 65. The lack of transport and other local services make the provision of social care even harder. The government's LGR is making it more difficult for areas to build homes, as councils are having to concentrate on LGR rather than the national housing crisis. My local authority, Woking Borough Council, has just started to draft a new local plan, where local people get to decide where we build the homes we need. But next year it will be abolished. Labour's manifesto pledged to build 1.5 million homes, and now they're making it more difficult for local areas to build, risking reneging on that manifesto promise. Alongside the local plan, since coming to power in Woking, the Liberal Democrats have been trying to fix the mess left by others. Last year, I helped secure £500 million debt write-off from Woking's debt that we inherited from the Conservatives. £500 million, £500 million. We've had that debt write-off. We've also had support known as EFS, Exceptional Financial Support. The lack of understanding of that issue was so apparent in yesterday's Select Committee. The Minister says they want to get through the fair funding review. This is so they have a better idea of what money local councils need and fully enable local authorities to have multi-year funding settlements. And I'm fine with that, but it doesn't get rid of the need for cash. And if you're aware of the lack of it, I want to refer to my point earlier that I mentioned about the Minister didn't know how much money could be saved from reorganisation. It's already been mentioned by the Honourable Friend for Boxburgh that the government hasn't got an assessment of how much this will save. That isn't acceptable. Councils need money, but we can't put the money we save from local government reform back into services if we don't know how much will be saved in the first place. Councils haven't been properly supported for the transition, and try as they may, they're without leadership from London. Mainly because, as the local government minister says herself, Labour are not full position of the information they need to make a success of it. And in Surrey, we're the canary in the coal mine. The elderly, vulnerable children are already suffering, and Surrey County Council are refusing requests under the guise of LGR. The whole system is breaking. The changes the Minister and the Government are making, all this effort, and they aren't actually addressing the problem. Ministers don't know how much to invest. They don't know what the savings will be. That is not solving a problem, it is creating new ones. And I understand they have got their work cut out. It's a big job, and it's never easy. But in that discussion yesterday, there are critical questions that need answers. Looking ahead, addressing these challenges will be essential for anyone hoping to secure a role under Andy Burnham. If the Mayor of Greater Manchester becomes Prime Minister, he'll be looking for a local government minister that can answer these questions. I was disappointed with the Minister's answers yesterday, but we still don't have an answer on how much money local government reorganisation will save, or why the government has bulldozed through local democracy. I wonder if the Minister will tell Parliament the answers to these questions right now.